You should have some paper out right now to take some notes on this. This is part of your class participation grade, is when you're taking notes and listening in class and doing what I'm asking you to do, okay? So probability, it's basically what is the chance of something happening, okay? Probability is the chance of something happening. It can be expressed as a decimal, a percentage, or a fraction. It doesn't matter, they're all interchangeable. We've learned that you can go from a fraction to a percent, you can go from a fraction to a decimal, you can go from a decimal to a fraction, you can go from a decimal to a percentage. So they're all intertwined.
Isn't that a bit of probability?
Pardon?
Isn't that probability like decimal fractions? That there's always a probability of like the chance of you going from a decimal to a fraction. Like say you have there's 9 different ways since there's decimal, percent, fraction. You have to put AC to 3 times 3. There's 9, which means
that's how many ways you can do it.
Well,
yeah. So that's not quite a probability yet. I'll talk about what a probability is. Okay. So when we are talking about probabilities, it can be an exact figure or it can be just an approximated. So there are 3 ways that you can determine probabilities. One is you guess. Okay? You guess. So that's one way you would do it. Okay. An example of that. What is the probability for yourself that you will go to bed by 8 o'clock tonight?
0. Absolutely 0.
Okay. How about 10 o'clock tonight?
0.
0.
How late do you guys stay up?
12, 11, 12. 1 to 2 o'clock.
Okay, how many people, what's the probability that you'll be in bed by 11?
50.
I
get in my bed, I just stay up till like 12.
Yeah.
Wow, I can't believe you guys stay up that late. Okay.
We don't fall asleep.
Okay. So this is a guess. You are guessing. Some nights I'm sure you do go to bed by
A
11.
couple nights ago I did.
So there is a probability, some sort of probability that you may be in bed by 11 because there are some nights. Okay, so you might have a 5% probability, or if we looked at it as a percent, or a fraction, that would be 5 nights out of 100 nights you go to bed at 11 o'clock.
Or 1 night out of 20.
1 night out of 20, that could be a different, that's not, that is the same. 1 out of 20 is the same as 5 out of 100. Okay. But that's a guess. You know, we don't know for sure. We know that sometimes you could kind of guess that amount and say, based on your experience, this is what it is. Okay, so that's one way we get probabilities. These are the least reliable. Like, if I hear this percent and we know it's just kind of guessed or made up, it's not very reliable that that's true, okay? The second way is to do an experiment. That means you kind of record data. So for this experiment, this type of how often do you go to bed by 11? Your experiment would be to take a month. So here's your experiment. Would take a month and record on a calendar for the month what time you went to bed each night. Okay. So on your month calendar, you would record for each day in there Well, no, you're not looking at average, you're gonna count. Okay, so let's say here you went to bed at midnight, here you went to midnight, here you went to bed 11, here you went to bed at 10, midnight, 10, 8 because you didn't feel good. This went back up to 9, then 12, 1. You got a really busy spurt. You stayed up till 2, 12, 12, 12.
Do I have to put that down?
No, I'm just showing you what you would do. Okay.
I put it down.
Okay.
Except you.
Okay. So this would be an experiment. You're going to actually do some recording. You're going to do the work of seeing what you actually do. Okay? So you go through and then you would say, okay, at least by 10. Oh, at least by 11. Or 11 and before. Okay? So we would know this one doesn't have 30 days. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 6 days in a week.
6 times 4.
I got 24 here. So I have 24 dates recorded. So on the bottom is the total number of data recorded. Okay. It's also called the number of trials. The number of trials that you do it, because a trial is just doing the experiment over and over and over and over again. So this number is the total of the data or total number of trials. Okay, so that's 24. And if I look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of the 24, I went to bed before 11. Okay, so 7 out of 24. Then you could figure out the percentage because you have it as a fraction right now. 7/24 of the time I went in this month, I went to bed before 11 or by 11. Okay, what is it? It's 29%. So if we look this up, it's 29% of the time. That's a lot different than 5. But I made this up, so we have no idea whether this is accurate or not, but I'm just showing you that's what you can do as an experiment, okay? We're gonna look at some probabilities tomorrow by doing some experiments. So if you have a die, a 6-sided die, bring it to class, or if you have a pair of them, bring them to class tomorrow, okay? So I'm asking you to bring the die tomorrow, put that down. Ring. One to 2, if you have 1 to 2. Yep. Bring some dice.
Bring like 10.
Good. So you guys are actually going to spend time rolling and doing experiments tomorrow. Okay. We're not done yet. We're not done yet. Okay. The third one is what we would expect, okay? This one you can't really do for this, but this is in a perfect world is how I call it. It's expectations. And this is the one that we calculate when we're doing statistics and probability. This is what we calculate. It's based on how many different options there are and how many ways what we can get or how many ways that satisfy this. So let's just give an example with the dice for right now, okay? Here, the expectation would be if I were to roll a even number on a dice, okay, and I were to roll that 100 times. So I rolled the dice 100 times, okay? And what we're checking is the probability that I would roll an even number. Okay? What if I rolled it 100 times, how many times would I expect to get an even number? Yes.
Was it 50?
Yeah, it's 50 because there are 3 even numbers and 3 odds. 3 is half of the time, so we would expect 50. So this calculation is what we expect. This is off an experiment, and this is just totally off of a guess. Okay, so probabilities, that's how they're made. Okay. Let's quickly have you give me some probabilities. What is some probability?